Disclaimer, this video is an opinion piece. Now on to the opinions. So, it's almost been a year since the US election, and when Joe Biden won the US election, democratically, although, why do people think it was rigged? First reason is that there was probably a few hundred lone wolf election frauds, which was enough for, well, not for people to be suspicious, but not enough to change the outcome. I don't think the Democrat Party did it. I just think there was like a few people doing dodgy things. And of course, that's enough for some, how do I put this, Steven Crowders of the world to notice some dodgy addresses, and then, of course, well, question the election. And what also you've got to take into account the before the election, you've got Belarus, they called that rigged. Burma, the military called that rigged. And a whole bunch of other elections that were rigged. And let's not forget, in 2016, the Democrats blamed Russia. And of course, mail-in ballot, making it more susceptible to election fraud. So the suspicion was in the air prior to the election, and I guarantee you, if Donald Trump had won a re-election, then the Democrats would have blamed Russia for rigging the election. And that's a fact. And as a result, yeah, I can't say much. Of course, but Joe Biden's presidency has also been a relative disaster when it comes to ISIS, because ISIS is on the rise, although thanks to Russian airstrikes, I think that has been dealt with, at least in Syria. But, of course, Joe Biden was a centrist candidate. The Democrats tried really hard to win the election with the centrist candidate, flip-flopping depending on what crowd he's at. Of course, he's in front of some coal miners. He'd say, coal is good, coal is great, we're not going to get rid of coal miners. Against inner city hippies who might vote green, he's like, coal's bad, I'm going to ban coal. Well, not exactly bad. You get the idea. Tailoring his answers to the crowd. Of course, with the internet, that will easily get picked up, but it seems to have worked. I know the Democrat campaigners are obviously smarter than I am. And of course, the non-stop media attention, and people just got sick of Trump. So yeah, Trump lost the election, not really because of but because the Democrats tried really, really hard. And following the election, the Republicans, scared of election fraud, tried to slightly toughen the regulations so election fraud would be harder. And of course, in response, the Democrats have tried really hard saying it's racist, porphobic, or whatever. So they're pushing back really hard against these minor election reforms. So that's put in the Republicans' mind Why are the Democrats opposing these small, easy to jump over hurdles, which will make election fraud harder and less? They want election fraud to happen. And Joe Biden's letting all these immigrants cross over the border. What if he wants the filthy economic migrants enter Texas and then vote for them and then turn Texas blue? They already tried really hard in the previous election. They're gonna turn Texas blue with their illegal migrants. So yeah, you get the idea. And of course, the Democrats will surely win next election. Possibly, I don't know. Depends on their candidate. If they keep Joe, then a few more scandals coming close if he starts a... And here's another thing. Russia has really got America divided. What, you may be wondering, why do Russia want America divided? Well, it's simple. If America isn't focusing on internal politics, then they don't have to worry about having another Syria. Yeah. And, yeah, it's just a whole lot easier for Russia. And luckily, I think they've pushed for the China narrative. So now Americans have completely forgotten about Russia. So I guarantee next election, whoever loses will blame election fraud. So that has been my quick, low effort opinion piece. So that I'd like to state my bias. My bias is anti-American, and that is all.